for our first podcast episode in English, I got a special guest with me today, Koorosh. With Koorosh today, I'm talking about design strategic stuff and also about design management. And I'm glad that you're here, first of all.
Thank you so much, Mark.
I know you're really, really busy. If I check up your LinkedIn, I probably there's no person who's so, active, but not really fake active, like really active, really. There you see that there it has, a good volume of knowledge and everything that you provide on LinkedIn. So tell me, design direction, how did you come up even to go into design, first of all?
Well, that goes back over 15 years ago or maybe more. So first of all, thank you. It's great to be here. To you. You're and welcome. The team, of course, behind the stage and doing all of that. I think it's great to expand the awareness of the people in the industry, especially design, which is often preferring to remain quiet. So, and thanks for inviting me for sure. Regarding your question, back to design, of course.
Just take your mic a little bit closer to you. No, this one, yeah.
Yeah, better.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, this is perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah. It sounds weird, but it's really, you get it aware of it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, let's say going back to the time when I was 13, 14, feeling like, art is the thing I want to follow. I was good in drawing since early age, even when I was 7, 8 at school. And then I was thinking, okay, maybe I will become painter. Yeah. Because I had no idea there's something called design and industrial design, automotive design, all of that. Yeah. And of course, always had an eye on the magazines related to automotive and stuff that my brother was collecting. And I was at the age of 13, 14 and started to buy these from him. All of this magazine.
Did you get a family prize or?
No, because he was bored of collecting them, but he had them already for 4 or 5 years, and you have to collect every month. So you can imagine how large was the collection. And then I started collecting them, and I faced in one of these random pages an advertised, very tiny one, that automotive design classes, and I was in private, and I was like, okay, that's something people can learn, because I was drawing cars and stuff before that, but I never knew there's such thing. And I said, okay, that would be a great combo, and that was the dragging point. Obviously, not to forget that my older brother, Kaveh, he was also mentoring me as a teenage, how to draw cars, to do perspectives and stuff. Yeah. But then a turning point was after joining those private courses. This is going back to my high school time, before leaving my homeland, Iran. And that was the starting point. And then I learned, to get there, you must study industrial design, and then to get to automotive design. Yeah. And that's the passage. And that was the starting point, yeah.
This is really interesting. I have a few friends also from Iran who came over to Germany or to other automotive industry. And this is what they had to, this was the price that they had to pay to get into automotive industry. They had to leave their country also for educational stuff. And really interesting to hear that from you. These design, magazines, you were starting to collect them in Iran already.
Yeah, it wasn't design, it was automotive relevant. It was the most popular car magazine. Okay. The translation is even called car magazine. Machine magazine it's called. Yeah. And and I knew, I learned from the class that you can study it in Iran as industrial design. Okay. Yeah. But we still don't have automotive design yet as a major. And back then, even now, so it was popular to always aim Italy for automotive design. And I set my target, there is a level you can grow here because of the industry. And then even if you're the best, depending on the industry, who you would design for, then I said, if I want to grow to the level that I imagine, then I must go further and discover more. So it ended up really exploring both industrial and automotive design in 6 different countries, including my homeland, Iran. then went through Malaysia, Turkey, Austria, Germany before here. I lived and worked in Berlin as well. And then Italy, and then back to Germany where we are now. So
I actually do always, for myself, because I think it's sometimes funny and it's already a little bit a running joke in my episodes. I sometimes check up people on ChatGPT
okay.
and ask what they know about this person. And
did you search for me?
Yeah, I did.
Really?
And actually, this is crazy. You had a really, really nice video there. Also, like in which countries you were working. Also, they mentioned Malaysia. They really they had it was crazy.
Insane. I have to check that.
When I saw that, I thought like, okay, he really deep dived into the topic of automotive industry, and especially you said now you moved like to a country, and in your case to Italy. I'm from a, I say, conservative country, some kind of, maybe not anymore, but it was before. When I talked to somebody and said, yeah, I'm going for automotive industry or something like this, and oh, son, how are you going to make money with this? Like drawing, like how was your feeling with society and also with family or parents during the time that when you decided to go for automotive industry, especially for design?
Luckily, I was already active in Iran before leaving. You may consider it too early age, but I had the chance to already be involved with some design works relevant to, if you call it design now, but back then was really basic, of course, for me, but it was the initiative points. But I was dealing already with projects related to buses, trams, trains, not trucks until I started working here, but mainly buses, bus seats in general, and equipments for buses, trams, trains and stuff. So it was already sort of automotive relevant, transportation relevant. In fact, one of the very first serious projects I worked on was when I was 16 or something.
Mm-hmm.
It was...
oh, that's an early age.
That was quite early.
Lucky you. I was still playing basketball when I was 16.
It was for free though, but I learned a lot. Yeah. It was basically the panel of the bus seat where you step on. So
the
opening
it's
arm.
Still a part of a car or something of a bus. Like
it's just this optical part of it, the pattern where you step on. This was the part.
You have to imagine like somebody is paying for the sculpture or the thing that you designed, like because he likes it or he likes the complete the product with it together. So this is like it's a dream in some kind of way, like a creative dream, because they appreciate the work you have done in this kind of way. And it doesn't matter then if it's a footstep part like for a bus or if it's the whole car or even the smallest part of a car.
For sure.
I think we both know that the industry in this topic is really hard to even to get through or to even make it just to do one detail. Huh? Interesting for me is your first place in Europe was Italy. And I know that you're a design manager and a strategic person. But we both know that Italy is a little bit, different in the kind of management and also, the values of work ethic in between Germany and Italy. So tell me your awareness of like management in a strategic way in your time in Italy.
Well, I had different status there and stage, so it wasn't so much involved as I am now. Mm-hmm. But also a reminder, the first stage or the first country was Austria, was Salzburg.
Oh, yeah.
Before that. And then was Berlin. Mm-hmm. And then later to Italy.
Yeah.
In Turin and in Milan. So I was basically living mainly in Milan and then for a period in Turin and working there. And then I shifted to Bergamo before I come to Germany. And then I was mostly working as a design consultant and was really bringing in all my learnings. So from industrial design, from brand identity and into transportation as well. Yeah. And in fact, that was the link that I get to work for Quantron, where I am now. And because it initiated as a consultant firstly, and we liked working with each other. And then I received the full-time contract and it was the time, okay, let's move back to Germany. So and then leave the Dolce Vita behind.
Oh, yeah, Milan and Bergamo, these are really nice parts like of Italy. Like if the industry would be different there, I probably would have moved there already. But I really have to say I like Munich and the area of the south of Germany. Interesting because you talked about Kontron. We also see you here like presenting.
Thanks for that. I didn't expect so.
I love this picture. Really, unfortunately, like because of the size that I could show, I was not just able like to show a part of it. But I think you're on a really interesting topic of vehicles, because commercial vehicles, I think, is really hard to design. I think because it's always about the money in some kind of way. This is how I say a commercial vehicle. You bring stuff from A to B. It's not a personal vehicle where you want to show yourself. It's something that makes money for you, and you just need to be needs a good quality often and something like this. How do you see the position of design in commercial vehicles, and how can you provide also design in those how I say hard rule settings that you often got and with the industry and also with the people who are buying those commercial vehicles?
Very good point. So it's a big difference from passenger to commercial vehicle, as you pointed out, because in the end, your end customer and end user is completely different.
Yeah.
So passenger vehicle, you play with emotions. You do the same in commercial vehicles, but not in that level.
Yeah.
So every detail aspect of it, your end customer who buys it for themselves would choose in the passenger vehicle.
Yeah.
But in the commercial vehicle, if you take example of the trucks, so in Europe at least, most of the truck drivers are not the owner of the trucks itself. So they work for the fleet owners, and the fleet owner are either logistic companies or transportation or big brands that they really like. That they need a logistics, so that they would purchase the trucks. When it gets to urban transportation for the buses, it gets even more complex because your customer is municipalities or private transportation companies, and the driver is somebody else. And other users are the passengers and the pets and whomever gets into the bus. So it's true. It's a big area and quite different than the passenger vehicle, and the targets are changing as well. And no one would come to me with the business model that we have, at least. Okay, let's design the next sexy truck. No, this doesn't happen.
But why? Don't you think like because I think design is actually like a really small part of how I say the money you have to spend like on the development of a car or of a vehicle.
You think so? There's huge investments as well behind
it. That's what I think. Like to develop in how I say in production, to go into the production and see how I say all the tools you need to do it, and this is something else. But just like how I say to draw, to do the 3D model and everything else, I think it's probably cheaper than producing it, or I say
for sure. But you would design it until you produce it, right? Otherwise, it's a beautiful illustration, but
that's then your part to manage the time that it's not getting out of hand. Because with designers we would never stop probably if we wouldn't have a timeline or a deadline.
For sure. No, I mean, when it comes to the commercial vehicles, I always said it's like a running tool.
Yeah.
Basically, if it doesn't drive for an hour or something, it's really negative number in the bank account of the owner.
Yeah.
For the passenger vehicles, it's 70-80% of the time is parking. It doesn't matter. So it's the owners. So at nights or over the weekends or any time. Or when you're at work, you just use it for the commute.
Yeah.
But the commercial vehicles, you need to use it, and it must run the whole time.
Yeah.
And therefore, it changes all the parameters.
Yeah.
And also the timelines of the design are so varied. So for passenger vehicles, every 6 months or every year at least, you have minimum a facelift or something new needs to come up for that specific model. But for the trucks, you must design for the next 15 years at least.
Yeah.
And so the playgrounds are a bit different. And in aviation, I assume it's even more extended than railway as well. So.
Yeah. So for me, how for commercial vehicles, for trucks, for example, how do you level up then to compared to a company? I know that Volvo is quite good. I know what's the other with the Dragon? Somebody told me it's the Rolls Royce of trucks.
Scania.
Yes. So for example, now for Quantron, how do you level up to be compared also with those size established companies as well?
Then let me draw back to 2 years ago, 2.5, so 2022, when we first attended the IAA Expo in Hanover for transportation at IAA Mobility. There it was the first official presence of us at the exhibition platform, and it was super shocking for all the OEMs.
Okay.
Quite frankly, because and many people were coming at our stage asking, "Are you Chinese?" We were like, "No,
really?
we're German and we're based in Augsburg, and this is our heritage." Because Quantron itself is based for 5 years now, but it comes with a history of the mother company, which is called Haller, exists for 140 years. And the 5th generation of the Haller family, Andreas Haller, founded the company Quantron. Yeah. So that's the story behind, which all comes with the commercial vehicles background.
Yeah.
Anyhow, the presence comes with the availability of the products. So our target is completely and purely zero emission mobility. Yeah. So you're talking about hydrogen fuel cell or electric, both. Yeah. We tackle both on each of our platforms. We provide both of these powertrains. And at that IAA, we had 4 products on our booth which were available to order.
Okay, 4 products.
4 products.
That's a big palette, like for even for a newcomer in some kind of way.
Definitely. And it was a urban bus for 12 meters. One light vehicle, light truck, 3.5 ton, and 2 heavy, 1 rigid truck, 1 tractor unit.
Okay.
And all of these could be ordered both as BEV and FCV.
Okay.
And yeah, basically it was very shocking after the press release for a lot of OEMs and not knowing us. But that was the turning point.
Were you working so secretly, like on this project, or how
no?
Did it?
In fact, we did have our first customers before that.
Mm-hmm.
So our trucks are running in various countries in Europe and around the world. So I can name a few in Austria, Germany, Switzerland, Poland, Spain, Saudi Arabia, Italy.
Okay. What does Quantron need to do to be more, present? Because I think like it's a really nice vehicle. Also like the direction with the zero emission that you go in, and even now that you told me like that OEMs are not aware that such a nice product can be made in Europe. You don't have to look always overseas, like, or to other country, for example, China or an Asian part of the world, to get innovation.
I think big part of it comes from the agility of a startup. Mm-hmm. So of course, I don't know if you consider us a startup anymore, but that was the main turning point, because the bigger OEMs also have it in their planning for sure, or already develop prototypes or running trucks in this area. But it depends on the target of the company. So for Quantron, we do offer electric vehicles as well, but our suggestion to the customers, especially for the long haul, is hydrogen fuel cell, because of the simple math you make from BEV to FCV. And I can tell you further later on where design kicks in this whole story. So
we can go now. Like, get in. Tell me where does design kicks in?
Okay, so
that's a good interlude.
Okay, so yeah, as I said, no one would come and say, okay, let's design the next beautiful truck. But rather came with the functionality. So it's a tool again. It's not, definitely it must be beautiful. It must be appealing. It must excite those truck drivers, because in the end they hint to their fleet owners, okay, let's buy this truck or that one, because they test it. But yet it really must be function driven. And it was the same for our truck, QHM Aero, one of the first own design vehicle for us. And it was already a great package, both FCV and BEV. And we said, okay, how much more can we push the limits? And everybody's talking about efficiency. So we said, okay, maybe the area of aerodynamics is something to focus on. How to achieve it with a new design. Yeah. Because not to forget that we do not produce cabins and chassis. We provide the technology instead. So we choose...
like a manufacturer house, kind of.
Yeah. So we have chosen the cabins and the vehicles which are preferred by the customers already, or where we can fit our technology in.
Yeah.
And we the base truck, the base vehicle that we had a tremendous areas which we could improve in aerodynamics. And with this redesign of the exterior, which we did not touch the cabin, A-pillars, windshield, none of the main structures at all.
That's super efficient.
We could achieve 20% drop of the drag, an improvement of 10% increase of range.
But that's in so many ways super efficient, because you already go for a product that is already on the market. So use like a part of it. You make it more efficient with the design that you get. This is like the goal, what every designer wants to do. So like substantial. So you don't have so much waste because of how I say you have to produce there, have to build up. Mm-hmm. You did a design. Something meaningful in some kind of way as well. Because I think sometimes it's really hard to get something meaningful done in automotive or vehicle industry. It's, I say, I don't know, 70% like just like made for people, for I say commercial and not commercial, normal vehicles, like for everybody to drive around. The parts, what kind of parts do you use there? So that the people are choosing the cabins, like what they want to have, like for Mercedes or Renault, or do you got a palette, a list that you can, I say, could you add together, or how is it?
It is the package is applicable on various trucks, as long as the chassis allows. I'm not going to talk so technical because it's not my area, but I did have a lot of learnings from our engineers after working a lot with them. For
sure.
But I can share the parts that I learned from them. So it is applicable on various chassis, but of course, it's a matter of your collaboration with different OEMs or which, as I said, cabins or chassis are the preferred one by the customer. So I think with a simple search, you can figure out which cabins or chassis we are using for different vehicles.
Okay.
Just for the sake of not advertising anyone here.
No, that's okay. As soon as they pay us, they can be advertised here.
So I wouldn't name them. But
I've named too many of them. You got free promo, and I'll come back to you.
But yeah, we had simply the frontal face change, roof spoiler, side aprons, and underbody construction, and the side airflows. Yeah. With altogether of this package, 10% increase of range. People, or let's say people, the industry is often talking about 0.2, 0.3, maximum 1-2% of improvement with the complete restructure of the cabin and all of that. The 10% only with these minor effects was enormous. Yeah. And when I was presenting exactly the image you have behind you, it was the product launch. When I was presenting how simply we achieved that, I mean, in simple words, and people were asking me after the stage saying, okay, but this sounds very simple. Why didn't the OEMs do it already?
That would be my question now. Like how can a company, like a big OEM company, not be interested to get a result like this? And you're a startup. Like you have to imagine, like, to do this 1%, 2% is already like, it takes a lot of effort.
It's a big amount.
Huh? And you're a startup. You don't have, I say, the money that some OEMs got. You have to provide yourself in front of the financial board, or I don't know. Why? Why aren't they able? Why are you and Contra and the team all together able to do this?
So I would answer the two immediate answers came to my mind back then, because I think it remains the same for me. I think there are two factors, because first of all, the cabins that are existing currently in the market are probably designed back in 10 years ago, more or less.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can't play. So the speed of launching a product
different,
in a commercial vehicle is much longer than passenger vehicle. This could be one of the factors. The other factor is that, or three, okay, is the...
We take three, all good things of three.
And the fuel efficiency, which wasn't a thing maybe back in the time. Now everyone wants to make it more efficient, okay?
Yeah.
It's getting all EV and stuff, so let's really squeeze every little piece that we can to bring extra efficiency. This could be the second point. And third point, regulation limitations in terms of materials, measurements of the cabin. So with the new regulations, you're allowed to have some sort of larger cabins. If I'm not mistaken, okay, here I will say the name because it's the only product in the market I think follows the new regulation, which is DAF XF.
Okay.
Because if you notice, it's a bit larger overall in the height, width, and overall proportion of the vehicle is a bit larger than the...
Okay.
But on EVs and FCVs, you get a little bit extra room to play.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
By law, at least in Europe. So you can have a little bit room of shaping the cabin in a way that is more efficient. So this could be maybe the three factors I can point out. But I'm hoping and I'm looking forward to see more and more aerodynamic trucks out there, which we have seen in this year's IAA. So,
but it's interesting that you mentioned that there's a law in Europe that supports you in doing this, because normally it's always the other way around. European law for car or for vehicles in general are really pain in the ass. I remember like in automotive industry, that's often like there are two versions, like the European ones and then for the other countries, because nobody was caring in the other countries over there, and it was always much cheaper to produce it. But I'm glad there is also a twist turn in the European law as well, positive for the vehicle industry.
I think it's all based on business case. So when there's a business case behind it and financially makes sense, okay.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the lawmakers would also have
maybe Mr. Zuda was the involved, the main one. No. Let's come back to the topic design management. Do you have a team at Kontron, or how is it?
Relevantly small, very small, as you can imagine, with often a lot of external support as well, because it's a dynamic team and a project process as well. And the projects are periodic, so it's not constant, okay, we designed this QHM, let's go for the next model and next model. No, it's more of really guiding it and really supporting, because at design team, we also support a lot with the content to marketing team, for instance, for events, for sales team even, because I name it, for example, as an example, so you get it, what we do additional to the design work. For instance, at the last IAA, one of the issues we had was, okay, the truck looks like a normal diesel truck from outside. Yeah. And you're having a title on top of it, FCV. So, and people come like, okay, what's the difference? And then each time we had to tilt the cabin, show the fuel cell engine there and the package, the tanks, battery, e-axle, people going under the truck literally and all around. So I was having this observation myself and saying, okay, how can we help that with design to help presenting these better? Yeah. Because it's a huge effort of our R&D team and so on. And what we did was with the help of AR and VR presentations, for instance, and to really showcasing what happens technically inside the package as well, in addition to the design. So you could simply, with a QR code, present it on your phone or tablets with augmented reality, full scale or small one. Yeah. Seeing the truck itself and the package, both BEV and FCV. Yeah. So these are the things that...
That's interesting that you tell me like now that you needed, you had a problem, like, because like it looked like a diesel truck, huh? And I think that's always a big problem with all, in general, with vehicles with different engines than like I say petrol engines. There's not a big difference, or it's getting better, but I often felt like, okay, hey, it's not a big difference between between a normal vehicle with a petrol engine and an EV or FC, depends. And because I felt like it's a new era. Why don't you give a car also a new era in some kind of way? And also you got more space, you have different technology. There's so much more you can go for. Do you think industry is scared to go this direction, or
are you referring in general to passenger vehicle EVs as well?
In general, I would say.
Maybe I would take two examples from my observation. Yeah. Again, I'm just sharing my
for sure,
personal feeling here. So, one of the first big players was Tesla, right? So entering the market as EV player, and as you said, so considering the simple package it has, so batteries and motors and the rest is your space to play.
Yeah.
I think they could go also very crazy to be completely like a lot of conceptual projects that we see from students, from experts and all of that, to have really a complete autonomous looking space. But I think it's a term always in design. So you should give people something they know already in their backbone and a little bit twist it better.
Okay.
I think that's what they did. And so the overall volume of the vehicle looks like a normal sedan, the first model, if you talk about it, but yet a little bit of flavor and taste. Okay, it's a different vehicle.
Yeah.
This is one example I can say how they entered the market, and I think it takes time to have a complete transition. On the other hand, I always still a big question for me. Why, when you enter in some of the EV cars today, which are quite large from outside, it's above 4 or 5 meters, but yet when you sit inside, it feels too small.
It does. I think the only car that doesn't feel too small is the Ioniq 5. This one looks really small on pictures, but when you see it, it's like a mid SUV.
It's huge.
And it's huge. But all the other cars, like, they're still small inside. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I do give credit for the points that you need to make it, resistant to crash tests and so on. You have all these restrictions, but it's an EV. We were expecting to have more space inside, right? So where did all this space go?
Yeah.
So I always compare it. How can a K car be so small, and when you sit inside, it feels really big?
Yeah.
I don't know if you tried in any K cars.
Not yet.
Okay.
Which one have you tried?
Should I say the name again? I think the last one I tried was Nissan Sakura, if I'm not mistaken the name. And I'm not so high, but there was a guy next to me, 220, sit behind the car and still was having a lot of headspace, and you don't feel, okay, you're stuck to the next seat. It was really spacious, and I was so surprised. And why we don't see such products in Europe? It's just the vehicles are getting bigger and bigger, and yet when you sit inside, the space is not so welcoming. And it's not ICE. We're talking about BEVs. And
those ones who should have normally have more space, some kind of.
Maybe there's a big reason behind it. I don't know yet, but this is always my question to.
Maybe they don't want to offer too much, to the clients. To go back to the fuel discussion, the hydrogen fuel. I have sometimes the feeling that the industry already have decided that they don't want to go over there because it would take too much money, like to invest in there, to go further. Industry have decided already, like, we go electric with the lithium batteries and all this kind of stuff. How hard is it to believe in other kind of engine or energy fuel, and to also from a strategic point, like to work on this? And when there is the point, okay, when you have to say, okay, it's working or it's working not, or we have to say, okay, our price is going to be higher, but then we can work further on this project. How's the situation there, and how do you feel about it?
There is already very well infrastructure for the EVs.
Yeah.
For the hydrogen, there is as well, and some in Germany was one of the most for refilling stations, but it's yet really needs to improve much more, and maybe that's why the customers are a bit hesitant, and the market as well. But there are often a lot of collaborations between or among the big OEMs or companies who do have the product like us, and yet focusing on building infrastructure as well.
Yeah.
So at least at Quantron, what we did was it's a joint venture between Quantron and Oil Invest.
Mm-hmm.
You know them probably as HEM, as a fueling stations.
Yeah.
In Europe, you have seen HEM. So the joint venture is called Hemtron, and the complete focus is to bring hydrogen fuel or infrastructure for the vehicles. It could be our vehicles, it could be any other fuel cell trucks out there. So there are activities like this happening, but it's not so fast. It takes time.
But does it take time because industry doesn't want it to be that quick there? Because like then all the money that you have invested are not going to pay out as they would like to.
I don't know. To be honest, it really makes sense for trucks, especially. I wouldn't fight so much for hydrogen for passenger cars. Or even passenger, it would make sense. Whatever long haul, in my opinion, really makes sense to go with hydrogen compared to EV. Let me make a simple example of our same truck. We're talking about a 44-ton tractor unit, European, those you see on the highway. So the BEV compared to FCV. So BEV, more or less, you get about 400 to 450 kilometers range. Some say 500 or more, but
they drive really slowly and they don't have to go really up and down.
Yeah. So you're considering a full payload and in proper condition, winter, whatsoever, and uphill, downhill, around about 400 to 500 kilometers. But with our hydrogen FCV right behind you, you get at least about 700 kilometers with single refilling. Which is equivalent to diesel truck when refilling time-wise. So you get about 15 minutes complete refill.
Yeah.
If you know, there are two products in passenger vehicles which are running on hydrogen platform.
Yeah.
It's one Toyota, right? And then there is Hyundai Nexo. So something like Hyundai Nexo, you have 9 kilograms of hydrogen only. For our truck, you have like 45 kilograms of hydrogen. And that gives you 700, more or less, if not more, for sure, 700 kilometers of range. And so it's not only the range. So range is one aspect. You have payload.
Yeah.
Because you don't consider all the area that you have the diesel fuel. It transforms to batteries.
True.
This is immensely heavy.
Yeah.
So payload is the second point, and thirdly, the weather conditions.
Oh, that's true again. Yeah, I have a electric vehicle as well. Yeah, in summer you're happy, but in winter you can cut down by 30% away.
So you would even wish to switch off your radio just to save some kilometers.
You have to imagine all your time slots, and you completely have to turn around your structure for a company who needs commercial vehicles and has like this import export stuff that they
for sure. And not only when they're running. So you see overnight, a lot of these trucks, of course, need to rest and sleep besides the roads, and all of these still heat up inside, and you need to provide some level of entertainment for the drivers to spend their time. Again, so it's a matter of energy, range, refilling time, payload, and different weather conditions. Of course, in the fuel cell system, you also have a battery, but it's way smaller. It's just to support, let's say, in uphills and in recuperation and all of that. It's not that huge.
Yeah, it's not there to be made like to be the main energy. No. It's more like, on the side,
it kicks in when on the uphills the fuel cell is not powerful enough, or in the downhills for recuperating, and when standing alone to still accommodate.
I remember because you were saying the Nexo from Hyundai, I remember I was 2019, I was at a Hyundai, or 20, I think it was right where Corona started somewhere. I was at a Hyundai and they told us, they're going to sell this, or they want to share this technology from Nexus and all this stuff. But now we have 2022 and I felt like nothing happened in this direction. And then I was kind of sad because there was already like, also BMW has this X5 where they presented.
Mercedes as well had a concept.
I felt like, they sneaky behind the back. They're maybe working a little bit on it, but not like really mainly. And it would offer so many, different possibilities, also economical wise as well. Well, let's see which direction it goes. I hope for my for my ETFs, I hope it's going to be hydrogen fuel. I've bought so much of them, but let's see. Actually, there was one company I was really, really interested in it. They had like solar panels, and with the solar panels, they were producing in between. They were producing hydrogen. It was really funny. And they told us you had a hydrogen field where they produced it. It took a long time. There was a problem. They still, working on it. It's more university stuff, but they funded already some money and all that stuff. And I thought hey, you have to imagine you get the same stuff from energy, also from the sun. So it was doubled some kind of way. You had the energy. Cool. The electric energy and also the hydrogen fuel. But let's see where it's going to. So, more a little bit back to, working with a team. Mm-hmm. I think this is, in my opinion, really interesting. Especially a friend of ours or somebody you also know, Marius, he told me you're the master of connecting.
He told about me.
Yeah. Okay. We were on the wedding of a friend of mine, and I told, I contacted you to have a talk together on a podcast. And I said, man, this dude, he's really a mastermind of connecting. He did it. And to get along with people is not always an easy target. Are you smiling already? What do you got in mind? Tell me.
No, it's lovely the topic, because no one ever mentions it, and I'm noticing when you explain about it. So it's good. I never knew that people think like that about me. It's positive.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So take the flowers. For you as a design manager, you have you also have a vision. You're also a visionary person. You have people under your level that you're taking care of, working with them. You have upper people also that you have to please in some kind of way, but also have to, maybe get in an uncomfortable position also, because you have your vision that you want to provide with your team. How do you handle this, especially in an industry like the commercial vehicle, where it's sometimes really conservative, and you are more the visionary guy, and also pushing forward, as I know you now from all our talks that we have. How do you handle this with all these egos that you also have, in an industry that is really, sometimes focused on yourself, to provide and be the one who rescues everything in the company?
Good point, really, because however, if I've been successful or not in it so far, if I've been, then I would relate it to the lucky background I had in all 6 different countries, because it helped me really to put myself in the vision of other cultures or other mentalities, and see how they see the topics relevant to design or completely different topics. So it really gives you a good vision to see how people think and how you think, and a complete different approach. So what I try to take from learning from all of these years and put today into work is, as much as you feel as designers that you want to really push your ideas and to make it happen, and finally that dream comes to a physical object and running on the road. In the case of vehicles, you need to still feel the business model. You need to still feel the other people. You're a bigger team, bigger than your design team itself. So engineers are there, aerodynamic engineers are there, production people, and all of that after sales. What are their pain points? So I often take random tours around company. I try to be friends with the guys at the workshop, with the finance team. I just try to randomly learn what are their pain points, and try to really pick whatever is fruitful for me and the team in the design area. And of course, when you when we propose the design ideas and the final design freezes, I try to at least stay really open I consider myself not an egoist designer in a way. So
I think you can't be an egoist designer if you're already like such a connector and such a strategic person as well. That you wouldn't be here now. You would
good
be
to hear that if I'm one of those guys that you mentioned.
We have never worked like in the design context, but from the talks and the people they told me about you, I believe you wouldn't be here if you would be an ego. A big
pleasing to hear that. But yeah, I think you need to put yourself in the shoe of other people as well. And I often got really pulled back from opinions when I hear straight feedbacks from engineers and from stakeholders and saying, okay, no, we can't do it, or let's go this way or that way. I try to bring reasons why we made those decisions, which was based on their previous feedbacks sometimes. But you need to stay really open. But there are always some sad moments, like you come up to the time that, okay, we need to launch the design. Really unfortunate things can happen. Okay, I don't know, we got low on budget this time. We don't produce it. We don't go on the prototype. We do it differently. So let's go full digital or however. So you need to be really ready at the last minute to change the complete strategy. Okay, how we still can go on the stage, keep our smile and show
That's the point. Go on stage and keep the smile and keep it up, especially for a startup or in general, if you it's such a sensible department as design, because as soon as numbers are dropping, design is always the first part that's get like the pay cut some kind of way, you know?
If you keep yourself apart from the team, so if you show the value in the let's say the dropping of total cost of ownership and creating a good match with the engineering team, you can
true. That's a target.
Save yourself a little bit.
That's true. A funny thing, if you get a new job in some companies, for example, I know in defense, I think also in BMW, but I'm not sure. I think they did it on their own. You mentioned like to understand the upper floor, also the stakeholders and all this, but also interesting to see like the floor, I say under you, the people, the mechanics, the constructors and all this, and there's sometimes I say higher management who do an internship at for example, like at the Audi production for 2 weeks, like, and really doing this. And as you said, I think it's really important to have a feeling also for those different kind of levels, areas where you work in, because just then probably you can also like manage and I say also be sensible and feel with them and connect with them differently. Did you have an experience where you said where you could understand something better because you felt it by yourself, like because you were, I say, you were working on it, and then afterwards you said, okay, yeah, I know why this has to be done like this, please, I say, beware of it. Did you ever had a situation like this?
Definitely, like in the same project, because there's a lot learning from our QHM Aero. You see a lot of things in the 3D environment at your desk and thinking that you're doing the best. But when you go down there to the workshop to really feel and see how things are connected to each other, and you get the real feeling. Okay? Yeah. In the end, from that virtual 3D, you need to bring it to the reality. So I think it's really necessary to go down there and not only create a good relation with the people there, because I in the morning I go and say hi to everyone. So at least on my way. And if I don't shake hand, at least I say hi to everyone with a big smile. Although if I'm not even feeling good.
Are you so kind? You shake hands with everybody?
I used to when we were smaller, but when we got larger.
When you get bigger, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But it really does affect and makes the connection very well. I don't do it to fake it. I really do it because...
No, you feel like this.
Yeah. I don't like it when people enter the room and don't even say hi.
Oh, I think that's so awkward. It really... or they just say hi to one person and you're right in between and you think like, hey, I'm still there.
Sometimes we had new employees in our office and It's happened that they were like for a whole week coming in and not saying hi. Intentionally, I was saying hi loud to say, "Hey, welcome, good morning," and and then I realized, okay, that person started to also
warm up,
keep doing the same. But apart from this, for example, unfitting the panels on an existing vehicle, which you have already a lot of fixed points. When you don't go down there and to see what are the issues, why they can't fit it well, or if there's some issues, you wouldn't be able to sense it on the 3D area as well. And often happen that we had elements there that we didn't even see in the CAD model, because trucks are really variant.
Yeah,
you could have a model of a truck that is a certain model, but on the other hand, they are really customizable and quite modular. In with the same cabin, you get potentially a rigid truck, a tractor unit, a little bit different, or for example, they share the same doors and windshield, but the cabin is different. So it's really modular in a sense. But when it comes to, for example, lights, the headlights, because of the high cost behind it, the whole brand is using the same 1-2 lights. So for trucks, buses, medium, large lights. So, but the areas that they can keep it modular. But then when you go down there and say, okay, the models that we have is that certain topic, but here it needs to fit all kind of cabins which are sharing this measurement. So things like this happened a lot. But I'm happy that the very first time that we mounted the panels on the truck with the supplier who built it, they were so surprised. They said to me that, okay, for the first time, we tried with the first shot and it fit very well.
Oh, that's really rarely. I probably have never heard that before. Especially when it's, I don't know, 3D printed or...
No, molded panels and painted.
Okay.
Came on the workshop, and of course there were minor improvements which we did for the next set to make improvements. But it really helped to make a good result. Because there was no other chance as well, because less than 1 week later, it had to be at the podium. So
no. These are, I've never seen that something happened on time, like always like on like really just minutes before it has to be presented, like it's done. And actually, because funny, you said like from the digital to the physical model, and then it fits for the first time. I remember during my time in my student job, there was one guy and he had a shirt always on, like in different colors, but always the same sentence on it. Like in cut, it fitted. And he was a physical modeler. So he was like doing all this sanding, milling and all this stuff. And he was walking around all the time. And then when I was doing my model that you saw on the exhibition in high school, when we were setting the parts together and it didn't work, and I felt like, okay, now I remember that guy. Now I felt him like this pain he had. So it's really lucky you, because it saves a lot of money if it fits from the first.
Definitely, we had no other choice.
This startup pain. I really feel with you, because I know like when
it had to fit, because and it did drive the same one.
Okay,
it was not only for the show, it was the test drive as well, test vehicle. And on the truck, you can imagine you have a lot of variants. So I don't know if you know, so you have the front suspension, which are moving separately itself, but additionally the cabin suspension as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of moving elements.
Yeah.
So the upper grille and the bumper are constantly playing on each other. At the same time, when you want to access the engine, you have to tilt the whole cabin. So the sort of the bonnet, the upper grille opens up and the whole cabin tilts. So every single changes that we were applying, little functional or styling lines, we had to check all of these angles and dimensions. So
what is hitting, where is it crossing?
Or not.
Yeah.
And considering the production method and what tolerances they would have, the tolerance of the paint and all these details.
True. 0.5 or 0. Or if you get a good one, 0.02, but it's really rarely.
yeah. But happily it worked out.
Great. Last topic for tonight.
We're already in the end.
Oh, boy, we were already like 45 minutes. The time goes really fast.
When you enjoy, yeah. We're having fun. So.
Hopefully you have fun. Hopefully our listeners and our viewers on YouTube and co are also having fun.
Without the beer, so.
Without the beer?
Without the beer.
Just tea and water and coffee.
Exactly.
Because you're really into the industry and how the industry is changing. Currently, we have this like I compare it to the wave of the technical wave of the beginning of the 2000s. I think the AI is something similar to this, the AI situation that it's involving and getting also included in many processes. How was your first contact with AI in your work and process? And how do you see that also in the future and also now in the present?
We do day-to-day work with various AI tools. I think the most common ones are for visualization, for the text, and this area, again, I don't want to name them, but I do name Wiscom because they were our partners and great friend of mine.
Oh, great. I worked with them. I had a video shoot for them, like here for back. They're really kind.
Definitely. And I do really appreciate what they're doing because I do have a sketch of our truck in the first process of the design. I just heard about the tool and I wanted to test it. I throw it there. And I printed out because we had the request. Another topic, sir. We had a request. Okay, there are these AI tools. Why are we hiring new designers? Can't you just do things better?
Yeah.
Because this was a request coming from. And I did that random.
Who did that? Upper management? Classic.
I was like, yeah, they are improving the process. And then I showed this render. I said, look, it's
look
good.
What I've done.
It's good, but not yet there. And I showed to Emil, one of the team members of Wiscom. I said,
"Oh yeah, I had contact with him, Emil Lucas, right?"
Exactly. I said, "You guys are doing great. Look, I have this render I did 2 years back, and since then you have improved a lot.
Yeah,
and it's printed behind my desk when I'm sitting. So now we did actually collaborate with them at the very first Quantum Design Award that I had the privilege to launch from basic to the end, of course, with the big support of all the team and partners. So this is definitely one of the areas we work on. But on the other hand, what I see, maybe you also pointed out the future as well when it comes, right? I think it's important all of us to know how it works, to not push it away and fade it out. And then when we know how it works, what's the basis of the logic behind it, and then we can adapt to it better. Because in the end, it's all data, right?
Yeah.
So you give some level of data and you get an output from it. Either it's visuals or it's text or calculations, whatever, in different applications. And it's the same. And maybe one of the very first areas from automotive design that I see it could be targeted or affected, or it's already affected even by Wiscom, is 3D modeling.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the end, the logic of any 3D modeling program is some codes. So there are logics behind it. So in order
to mathematics with all the points.
Exactly. So again, it's a data that you can give to the AI and expect something. Therefore, it's going to be one of the first targets, or it's already there.
Yeah.
And I see, maybe it's just my estimation, in the next 3 to 5 years, it could really improve to a level that you can expect a class A model surface from AI. But of course, there will always be a human behind it to check all the fillets and details and so on, and the thicknesses. But I'm expecting to see such improvement from AI. But I don't know if it would really get all over the every process that you're doing. It would still improve. Many people compare it with Photoshop. When it entered the market, everyone, or there was always two sides.
Yeah.
Should we adapt or not? Should we completely fade it out? But then you can do renders that you were doing a whole day or maybe a few days with pastel and marker, multiple one of them with different materials and colors in Photoshop and layering and all of that. Not to forget, I did have all the process. So I started with freehand sketching and
You're one of the first ones.
And I love it. So I would still do it for fun. But so I didn't start with Photoshop itself directly. And many people compare it with that. So it's a new tool. We need to learn how to adapt with it and how to use it in our benefit.
Yeah.
But when you hear from the big AI CEO companies, they would say, okay, there would be other levels or level 4 or level 5, like the autonomy of the vehicles coming with AI, that it could also, let's say, innovate. It's not yet there, but I'm also interested to see if it gets there.
So to sum it up, you see that AI is going to be a part of the fusion kitchen of design in design topic. So you have the part of AI that is taking place in the design process, but still adding up with other tools that you got or you have learned, because it will fulfill a certain, level, but you can always add something up with the other tools you got, right?
Definitely, yeah. It's always a combination, and we need to stay updated.
Yeah.
It's just getting harder and harder for the new students, because
to get updated, or to deliver those other tools that they were not aware of, or
to stay updated with all the new tools, to see which one really works for them.
True.
And
big
to
point.
Still have a track of which of them industry prefers.
Yeah.
But it's getting a bit harder, I said also before, for the new students or getting in the industry, because
luckily we both are done with studying this topic. So Koorosh, I say thank you. Appreciate really for your time.
Thank you so much.
Really thank you for all the viewers to be here and listening to our talk together. I think this is not going to be the last time. As I heard already, he has another topic to tell us for the next time. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks a lot for inviting.
And to all our viewers, don't forget to check out our social media channels and to follow us. And till then, stay creative. Bye.